Welcome back to Perspectives here on Arise News.
Seun Kuti is a musician and social crusader who lent his voice powerfully to the ENDSARS movement in October 2020. In the aftermath, he has remained unrepentantly outspoken about the 5-point demands of that movement.
Absolutely. No one should be in doubt about where Seun Kuti's inspiration comes from. He has taken to social activism like fish to water, the only way only his father, the great Fela Anikulapo Kuti, would have done. At the moment, Seun is busy on a European tour, but could not pass up the opportunity yet again of sharing his thoughts on #EndSARS. He joins us now. Great to have you here, Seun.
Welcome, Seun.
Hello, everybody. How you doing? I see you.
I know, so I have to have that chain. No, I have to have that chain. So send it down once we're done. You know, I'm quite fashionable like that.
We'll exchange it for the whatever that secret
pearls, love, pearls.
You from the ancestors, you look so young. Whatever it is, we can exchange. I'll give you this one. You give me that one.
Okay. Anyway, you know, I have a soft spot when it comes to you, so I would give you anything that you want, my darling. Anyway, let's start with this ENDSARS issue. Winning the trust of the youth is a top priority, especially where the government is concerned, and especially for the presidential candidates. Even though the ENDSARS protest hasn't really ended that the way you want it, whether we like it or not, the voice of the youths has had a major impact, especially with the ENDSARS movement. Now, what should the youth, like you and yourselves, demand of their candidates to win their trusts when it comes to the upcoming elections?
It's interesting that you asked that question for me. I'm really happy about that because, you know, one of the things we have to understand as young African people is that for us to truly liberate ourselves from the situation we find ourselves, we have to be fully committed to nation building. I think one of the main issues that we as African people go through right now is that we do not really see, or is what I'm looking for. We do not see our talents. Let me put it that way: our talents as the solution to our problems. We feel that we have to look outwards. But the truth is, our talents are the solutions to our problems. And as motherland people, the more we begin to integrate our talents to our problems, we'll be able to find the solutions to them. That's what I think personally.
Seun, good to have you on here. Question for you. Culture is a widespread practice, sometimes unifying, and sometimes practice over time becomes our way of life. Would you say that violence and corruption has become a cultural endemic in Nigeria? And I want you to analyze from the viewpoint of why ENDSARS started and what protesters aim to achieve in terms of eradicating brutality, torture, and extortion. Is our current culture of violence and corruption fixable? And in what specific ways can we start to develop a culture of genuine humanity for one another?
I think personally that Nigerian people could just, due to the compromise of our professionals, so in the media, in the education now system, in the entertainment industry, that we have not committed enough to the Nigerian people as they've committed to us. We do not really get to let our people see the true picture of things as they are. I think as motherland people, we have to understand that the system is not really rigged to our favor. You know, one thing I always say to young people is that no matter how we see ourselves, we have to also understand how we've been conditioned to accept the system that we find ourselves in. So that's one of the main reasons why we have to look beyond doing the same things over and over and expecting a different result. young African people have to begin to understand that we have to spend our spare time not only in the things that make us comfortable and relaxed, but also in investing our time and energy in understanding the systems that is keeping us, subservient to a certain class of people. And I think that's because we as African people, we are not class conscious. Class consciousness is something that has been removed from our psyche in general. And the more we as Africans begin to understand what it means to be class conscious, to see things from our own perspective, to know that all of us, cannot suddenly be multi-billionaires. That is impossible. But we as African people have the opportunity, to demand that even though we are not multi-billionaires, but we have dignity in our lifestyle, dignity in our housing, dignity in our healthcare, dignity in our transportation, dignity in our education, in those little things that we can affect and effect as motherland people. I feel like the more we begin to understand those things from a class perspective, the more African people can become, free.
Okay, sure. Now, after watching the last protest that went on, it's still obvious, it's quite obvious that there's still a breakdown in communication between the police and the youth. For instance, water cannons and tear gas was sprayed at the police. It was sprayed by the police. And then not to mention manhandling of media reporters recently at the toll gates. And you have these presidential aspirants going around, trying to do their campaign. Wouldn't you have thought that a visit to this site would have made a huge difference on these presidential aspirants? If they had shown up, do you think it would have had any impact? What impact do you think would have happened had one presidential aspirant turned up to share your pain and share your views and give you hope?
Me, I'm not in Nigeria at the moment. Today, I'm in Mexico. I played a gig tonight in a city called Guanajuato. So to be kind of hypocritical for me to be like, hey, if I was there, this is what we should have done. If I was there. So I feel like, in general, we have to, as African people, begin to respect the rights of African people to have different perspectives to different issues. So yeah, there's the whole ENDSARS movement. But if you look back to the things that I said during the movement, I said that we as motherland people have to begin to see things and organize in general against those systems that keep us, vulnerable to this kind of brutality and injustices.
Yeah, but what do you feel a presidential candidate would have? What impact would they have had he shown up in that place?
I don't believe right now that Nigeria has, Nigeria truly understand what it means to be the young Nigerian people truly understand what it means for them to remove themselves from the bondage that they find themselves. I remember very vividly that after the ENDSARS, young Nigerian people were calling for a young president that was, in his mid 40s or late 40s, or early 50s at max, looking for someone that was revolutionary to change the system. They themselves were looking to be involved in the system. And I was advising young people that there's no way that any president of Nigeria can come and liberate Nigeria. Imagine if we as young people even truly, let's look at this from this perspective, that we as young people in Nigeria, we truly come behind one person and we make this one person the president of Nigeria. And he brings his cabinet on board of 36 individuals. But they still have to face the Nigerian National Assembly, 36 states, under the APC and the PDP and their state house of assembly and all the machinations of these two parties running the entirety of the government. So Nigerian people have to see that for us to liberate ourselves from this kind of tyranny, we have to truly engage in all systems, in all parts of the government, not only looking for some kind of presidential messiah. We also have to be participating in our communities, looking for the ideas that will liberate our people from the system that have kept us under this kind of tyrannical and oppressive rule. And that's the truth. There's no messiah that can save Nigeria. Only Nigerian people can save Nigeria. And that's what I truly believe.
Thank you, Seun. Let's discuss divisive statements that have been made. The Lagos State Judicial Panel of Inquiry concluded that 9 ENDSARS protesters were killed and 48 confirmed casualties. Amnesty International released a separate conclusion telling us that 12 protesters were killed and over 100 casualties. Most people do agree that yes, we lost lives on October 20th, 2020. A few weeks ago, a notable leader and influencer said during a rally in Lagos, he said, "Where are the bodies and where are they buried?" He also asked, why are their siblings not searching for them, indicating a position that no lives were lost, while calling for renewed defense that lives were indeed lost. How do we begin to unite the nation post-ENDSARS? Where do we draw the line on divisive positions that evoke painful remembrances?
We have to remember very well that many of the people that called for the protests were not present when the Nigerian army came to the scene. And this is still one of my biggest criticisms of the ENDSARS movement, because I was telling them from day one, ENDSARS is attacking the symptom of a larger problem. I was saying that if we're going to go against this, that we're going to put our energy against certain ill in society, we as young African people have to go against the entirety of the ills of our society. And I was calling for an end oppression hashtag, but the whole ENDSARS thing was called the whole rave of the day at that time. But we have to understand as well that even at that moment, many of the so-called Nigerian media, were not present, when the military showed up. They had to rely on second-hand reports, of what happened. And this shows that, when the curfew was called by the government, many of the well-to-do went to their homes. We were in Ikeja, we were not in toll gates. The military came to Ikeja, but they saw people like me, standing there with the people. Many of the prominent young leaders in Ikeja were standing there with the people. They left, but we heard the report of what happened in the toll gate later, because nobody of prominence was there with the people. That was really powerful, that could deter the soldiers from carrying out their very evil missions that day.
Thank you so much, Seun, for your enlightening. Thank you so much
Thank you
your
so
views.
much.
And those pink trousers, I just noticed you were wearing pink pants. You must make sure you send them down as well. Thank you so much for supporting us, and thank you, as always, for being the voice of the masses.